Hello everybody, I hope you're doing well today. Late last week I made a video talking about rune level 80 and why I love it so much, but I wanted to talk about another rune level that I'm quite fond of, which is essentially anything that's below rune level 30. They're kind of all accomplishing the same thing when you're below that rune level as far as I'm aware. So the lowest of the low level is very interesting to me for a couple reasons, because on one hand, it has some of the best invasions in terms of getting your feet wet and learning a thing or two about how this whole invasion thing works. It's super laid back and stuff like that. But then it also has some of the worst flaws of almost any rune level range. Like, the only rune level range that I can think that might have bigger flaws than low level is going to be the highest of levels where, max dexterity, comet shard, and stuff like that is, all the rage and extremely common. So, with that being said, let's talk about the pros and cons of playing at such a low level. So, let's go ahead and start with the pros. So, if you are somebody that is looking to get into this whole invasion business, you are new to it, there is a very good chance that what you should try first is going to be sub rune level 30 level invasions. And the reason that is because you're going to encounter a lot of people that are going to be running through the game for the first time. So you're going to be getting a lot of natural invasions. You're not going to be getting a whole lot of people that are sweating their balls off, that are playing as sweaty as they can. You certainly will come across people that are doing that, but it is not the most common thing that you're going to run into. Like, if you watch the footage that I have in this video, like, almost all of it is just PvEers naturally running through the game, and I'm not playing good in these clips. I'm making a lot of mistakes. And you know what? That is okay, because PvEers are going to make a lot of decisions that are not going to make a whole lot of sense. And so it will help you sort of get an idea for what you should be doing, when and where. And also, if you want to try something weird out, then you are going to probably have an easier time pulling it off at low level to get an idea for how feasible of something it is. Like, for me, for example, I really wanted a curve sword parry, so I keep going for it. Now, granted, I unfortunately don't get it because, I don't know, I just wasn't getting it. But, I was trying to get some curve sword parries, so that's what I was trying to do quite a bit in this invasion, and in a couple others that I was playing for this video. So yeah, it's a great rune level for being experimental with specific mechanics, and that's a great thing. And also, like, if you're somebody who doesn't like meta level, then it can be really good for somebody like you. Now, granted, there are other rune levels you can go to, but if you want somewhere where you're just going to get PvEers that are just doing their thing, then hey, the lowest rune levels are going to be fantastic for that, because the majority of players in any game are probably not going to make it past the first couple of areas. And this is not exclusive to Elden Ring, this is essentially every single video game. You're going to have the most people at the low levels. And so another huge benefit of running such a low level character is going to be that you're going to get, essentially at almost all times, just consistent non-stop invasions. Like, there have been extremely few times that, look at this, dink, 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 dink. Yeah, I love Elden Ring, GG's. Yeah, so also low level can be very goofy like that. If you like goofy invasions, you will come across that quite a lot at low levels. But anyway, you're going to come across a ton of invasions at low level. Something that is very frustrating about meta level is that there are definite dry spots during the day where essentially nobody's on. And when it comes to meta level 125, the majority of the player base avoids 125. And as I said in the level 80 video, I don't like that personally, but it is what it is. So if you want a lot of action very quickly, then you're going to get that. You're going to get a ton of that. And a lot of it is going to be in Limgrave, and natural invasions in Limgrave are extremely fun. Uh, like, whereas if you're getting a natural invasion at, say, like rune level 90 or above, there's probably a pretty good chance you're going to be getting an invasion around like the mountaintops. I personally don't like the mountaintops all that much, so, I would prefer to get an invasion in an area that I like, like that only makes sense. So if you are someone who likes Limgrave, and I personally don't know somebody who doesn't like Limgrave, then it's going to be around probably 80% of what you get at these low levels. And also, not to mention, Stormvale is a fantastic area. Like, it is one of the premier legacy dungeons in this game. If I were to take a swing at where I'd rank it across everything personally, I'd probably put it in third place, close behind Lindale. But of course, Lindale, via playing the game, gets absolutely smited, so you don't get to enjoy it forever. And then in first place, I'd have the Hallig Tree. But that is to say that not only is it going to have one of the most fun open world regions, but it's also going to have one of the most fun legacy dungeons as well. You're also going to get a lot of cave invasions, which cave invasions are extremely cringe. I hate them, but you do have to at least get used to them. So, yeah, extremely good starting rune level because like it's easy to put a character together. It is easy to get your toes wet with how people play and stuff like that. Now, granted, something you're going to run into quite a lot, and this is going to start with some of the cons, is that when you do come across an overleveled phantom, oh boy, is it going to be bad. The overlevel problem in rune level 30 and below is particularly bad because you have so few tools unless you're twinked to the gills to be able to deal with people that are level 300, 400, 500, 600. All of these things are going to be borderline impossible for you to beat if you are running a legitimate level 20, 25, 30. Like, for example, my level 25 character is almost entirely using things that came from Limgrave, and there's only a small handful of exceptions. Some of those being like, I bought the S stock from the merchant right behind Limgrave at the start of Liurnia, and I got Flame Cleanse Me because Scarlet Rot is a huge problem at low levels. Probably another thing or two, but yeah, essentially, like, there's a lot of strong equipment in Limgrave. Like, you do not need to twink. You don't. But, obviously, there's going to be people that want to play at low level and run through the game at low level, right? In which case, technically, you're most likely going to become a twink by nature because you are going to acquire in-game stuff. Now, I personally do not like people who. I'm not fond of people who intentionally twink against PvEers. I think that that's like just cheap. But like, if you wanted to, what you could do is have more in-game stuff on a character that you ran through the game with, but essentially just keep it in your back pocket for a rainy day. So, like me, for example, I love running through the Souls games at low levels, right? And actually, a little bit of history time. I didn't used to be this way about twinking. Some of my favorite builds from Dark Souls 3 were like rune level 36, like twinked to the gills builds, and I just didn't have any qualms with it. But yeah, it's just like, if two twinks are fighting, it's like, sure, whatever. But I don't know. To me personally, like, I don't like just doing that to people that are playing through the game for the first time, right? And they're using things that they got from Limgrave, and you're using this, like, lightning slash clean rot sword. Like, I don't like that. I don't like using bleed ant spur on people that are using just your standard longsword while fat rolling. Obviously, everybody can do what they want, but that is how I personally don't like to play the game. But it is not a bad idea to keep these powerful things in your back pocket for when you encounter someone that is running something as scummy as they can, right? Because, like I've said before, vibe matching is extremely important. So it's better to make your build be able to account for things that are powerful rather than just like having a blind eye to it. Now, granted, I did have a level 25 character that I had ran through the entire game with, but I deleted that character because I'm extremely stupid. Um, and the reason why is not because I like just wanted to make a different character. It's because, get this, I wanted to have only 5 characters, and so I deleted my level 25 character that I ran through the entire game with. Don't get me wrong. I'm stupid, I know. You don't have to say it to me, but that is literally the reason why I did it. So I've got to run through the game again with this character here. But currently, I've only gotten really stuff from Limgrave, and guess what? Usually, it's fine, unless I'm coming across one of these people that is twinked to the gills. I have a fighting chance. Because, I mean, like, you get the Grafted Blade in Limgrave. You get the Strength Not Tier in Limgrave. It is very possible to use the Strength Not Tier to get yourself to 27 strength and then two-hand the Grafted Blade and use its Ash of War to give you stats. Like, that is, like... If it wasn't in Limgrave, that'd be, like, one of the biggest, like, twink items in the game, but you kind of can't call it that because it's in the starting area. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's already there. Now, granted, I did get a little bit sidetracked. Let me go back to the cons because I do need to talk about, like, we already discussed how bad the overlevel problem is, but the other really bad thing, which I was kind of already alluding to, is the twinks. So, you are going to come across people that have stacked every single advantage in their court as humanly possible, running, like, the Source Sealed, in-game heavy armor, lightning weapons, pots that'll borderline one-shot you. You will come across that, and it is not fun. For whatever reason, the different pots and whatnot are going to do a bazillion damage at low level. I don't know why, but that's how it is. So, yeah, you have to be prepared for that, like getting hit by like a volcano pot, one of the lightning variants, or especially like perfume bottles. Oh, God. Like, the perfume bottles hit so goddamn hard. Like, that is borderline a one-shot. So you definitely need to be on your toes about that. Here I am not reacting to Moonveil. GG, Yagor, the best gamer on earth. I think regardless of these things, however, that it is still a good rune level to start out at. Because I'd say probably around like maybe 2% of the time, 3% of the time, you're running into one of these people that are legitimately like just losers that are afraid to play at meta level, that run as many advantages as they can. But like the majority of the time, you're going to be coming across people that are just fine. And so something I personally like using low meta to do is to warm up. Like, the day that I recorded this, I was getting starched by everyone. I hadn't played Elden Ring for about 3 or 4 days, and you wouldn't think that would make a difference, but apparently I got fairly rusty in 3 or 4 days because I was making a lot of bad decisions. And so, you know what? Just to be able to chill out and not feel like I was getting my shit pushed in all of the time, I took a break from meta level and booted up some low level, and I still died some. Like, it didn't change the fact I was making bad decisions. Like, I mean, you can see that in these invasions, I'm not making very good decisions. But it did mean that, like, I could chill out a little bit and just enjoy the video game, you know? Like, fight these people that are doing their thing, you know, and it can be fun fighting overleveled guys. Like, if you're doing a PvP rune-only character, you're praying to find overlevels, because, like, they are the saving grace of you being able to level up and shit like that. So, like, you are literally praying for these people. See, I'm going for the parry, but for some reason, even though I know it's supposed to work in that situation, I didn't get it. I don't know. I don't know what's up with parries this particular day. But yeah, I don't necessarily want to encourage somebody to become just your standard twink that's just a loser. Like, you know, I understand playing through the game at low level because it's fun. That is a fun challenge. But You don't have to listen to me, but the thing is that there's a lot of people that when they are at rune level 20 or whatever it might be, and they fight an invader that they literally mathematically cannot defeat before ever considering skill, they're going to never try hosting legitimately, like being a host or being an invader. They're just not going to try those things. So it is important, in my opinion, to where if you're going to have a build that can be way stronger than those around you at low level, to vibe match. Like for me personally, a huge part of the reason that I run through the game on a low level character is because I want to be able to use the traveling maiden set and not feel like a scumbag, and also not be like, you know, like not light roll while using it, because like I'll be wearing weapons that like I can't light roll with, or I can, but like they're not that strong. But it's literally like one of the worst sets of armor in the game, and it's at the end of the goddamn Halleck tree. Like, you know, it's not necessarily, you're not gaining any type of advantage from using an armor set that bad. It's just that they happen to want to place it in like the very last area you can come across. So yeah, like I mean, I understand wanting to just run through the game at low level and enjoy things you can't normally enjoy at low level where you take less damage. But like if you're going to do that, like, you know, you don't have to, but I ask that you don't be a complete scumbag using, you know, perfumes and all this shit on people that have no clue what they're doing. Like, you know, have some self-control, because they're not going to want, there's a lot of people that will not want to try and test out the PvP if their couple of interactions with the PvP is getting one shot by people at low level and then getting like, you know, pointed down and teabag on. Like, yes, the entire point of these games is that they're toxic. These are toxic games, but there is such a small player base of people who legitimately want to PvP in these games in the first place that it's maybe a better idea to not shoot them at the front door than it is to give them like something that resembles a fair fight and make it more difficult for yourself. Like, you're the one who has the skill, they don't. Like, you can use worse stuff than them and do fine. So, you know, don't fret so much about what you're using. Like, you know, save the OP stuff for when you're fighting someone who's just like a scaredy cat, not willing to play at meta, but wants to like absolutely shit on, you know, PvEers. When you find one of those people, go pull out the twink shit. That's how I would play if this character had ran through the entire game. It's like, pull out the twink shit when you're fighting someone that is a twink. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think vibe matching is the most important thing you can do in your PvP interactions. So that little rant over, that those are just my opinions. Obviously, you don't have to agree with me, but that is how I look at the game, is match the energy of your opponent. Like, there's nothing you're losing from trying to make things more enjoyable for both of you. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, we're dealing with something kind of interesting here. We're dealing with a phantom that is using Comet, and it is fast and it hits hard, and he has a lot of FP. So I kind of want to kill the phantom because I know that he will give a lot of runes. So I'm going to go ahead and use the grafted blade right here, get +5 to all of my stats, making me hit harder, making me have more HP. And what we're going to do is we're going to try and murk him. So he goes for that foolishly. I catch him with the crouch attack right there. Does not go for the smartest plan. And then we're going to roll catch him. I don't know if I checked last night. Let's see how many runes he gives me. Okay, that's a pretty respectable amount. I was expecting more, though. I was expecting more, so like 20k. But, yeah, with that being said, I think you guys can see that this is pretty close to being over. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I hope you guys are able to enjoy low-level invasions. They are extremely fun about 95% of the time, and it is just a vibe. It is a chill vibe, and so, hey, give it a try. And if you're new to invading, give it a try. It takes 2 hours to set up a build that low.